Dr. Zakim, stay on with us, please. I'll just quickly cut across to our correspondent, Susan Tehrani, who's joining us from the US as well. And Susan, we've seen all that's doing at the rounds on social media. There's a lot being talked about, that handshake and then the B-2 bombers on top. And all that has transpired. The limited amount of exposure that we've had to the two leaders standing together in the same frame, sitting together in the same frame. Anything you've picked up so far on what to expect? Because we're highly anticipating now when the two leaders will come out and now finally come out after that 2 hours, 50 minutes meeting and make some statements.
Yeah, before the meeting, the White House made very clear that if there wasn't going to be some sort of tangible result in one way or the other, then President Trump would come out solo and address the media by himself and send Vladimir Putin home. However, we are now seeing that the two podiums are in act. We also heard that there was some sort of sound check by the Russians in Russian, which signals that Vladimir Putin is indeed coming out with President Trump during this press conference. Some might say that that's a positive sign and we might be, in for some kind of good news one way or the other. But until they come out and speak, we won't know. I think it was interesting that the press pool, the reports that we're getting from them, they were sort of ushered in to this press conference very quickly, a lot quicker than they had anticipated. Because if you recall, what we were talking about was that there was going to be sort of this working lunch as well. As far as we know, that lunch didn't happen with not only President Trump and Vladimir Putin, but also their delegations were expected to meet as well. It appears that this 2.5 hours was just, the conversations at the meeting that was previously discussed. So I think those are just interesting highlights and nuggets of what took place, whether or not they thought that that working lunch wasn't needed, whether the U.S. thought that, because again, it was believed that during that lunch that they were going to have, where their delegations were going to meet and talk, they were going to talk a lot about bilateral issues as well, and not so much on Ukraine. So I think that's really interesting to take into consideration. Again, we don't know. Maybe they had a fast lunch, but as the way we're looking at the timeline right now, while 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, is a substantial amount of time to talk and reach some kind of agreement, for a lack of a better word, but we don't know about the details until they come out and speak to us.
Susan, shortly before you joined, I had this same conversation with Dr. Zakim as well. I was asking him, 2 hours 50 minutes. It couldn't have just been a listening exercise for the U.S. president, as the White House press secretary had suggested. That exchange, and you see both the leaders in the same frame. They're polar opposites of each other. Minimal words from one. A lot of press conferences from the other. That those 2 hours 50 minutes, it couldn't have been a one-way conversation for sure. But just looking at where Trump has brought it so far, the fact that this summit is also happening, is that a certain win that Trump would want on his side already?
Just before we heard about the press conference happening, President Trump had a Air Force One interview with Bret Baier of Fox News, and Fox was playing that interview. And during that interview, Bret Baier actually asked him about, what he hopes to take away and why he's doing this. And he made very clear that, this is not something that he's very keen on. He's doing it because he wants to see the killings stop. He called it, once again, Biden's war that he's trying to clean up. He said the most important thing for him is to try to get some kind of peace, a ceasefire, put these two leaders in the same room so he can focus on the country. He said time and again that his focus is to focus on issues that are related to the United States. He said, I'm not doing this meeting for any other reason than to try to bring peace and try to end the conflict. So it's hard to imagine that he has any stakes in sitting in this meeting with Vladimir Putin and trying to look at it as any kind of win, inviting the Russian president over to Alaska, other than, the win would be either a ceasefire or a complete end to the war.
I hear your point, Susan. Thanks so much for bringing in those, interesting insights. And of course, I'll come back to you as and when we have further developments to discuss. I'll come back to our guest, Dr. Zakim, who's here with us on the broadcast. Sir, you had mentioned that, Putin would perhaps want to, look for a ceasefire at this point, or would want to charm Trump to a point that, they can agree to some kind of a halt in hostilities. Do you really feel at this point that there are any cards in Ukraine's favor that Putin would need to resort to any kind of an extension to look for a ceasefire? The war is already into its fourth year. They're making incursions in eastern Ukraine by the day. What kind of cards does Putin hold coming into this meeting?
Well, I think Putin wants to delay as long as possible. He is as you just said, his forces are advancing. They're not advancing as fast as people sometimes think. I mean, after all said and done, they haven't advanced all that far in 3+ years, but they are advancing. And what he really wants are a number of things. First, obviously, those 4 oblasts, provinces, plus Crimea should go to Russia, number one. That's major. Number 2, no NATO, not now, not ever. Those are and number 3, quite frankly, a relationship with the United States. He wants that because, again, as you see in all these images, he wants Russia to be seen as the superpower that it was when he was in the KGB. Those are his objectives. Now, coming out with a ceasefire today does not really give him any of those objectives, because he has not won all of those 4 oblasts. He has not confirmed that he's really an equal to the United States, and he certainly has not gotten any guarantees about NATO, which the United States cannot by itself guarantee anyway. Even if the United States says we don't want Ukraine in NATO, that doesn't mean necessarily that Ukraine wouldn't come in. I mean, after all said and done, the rest of NATO might think otherwise, and Ukraine's not likely to come in for the next few years. And after that, Mr. Trump's not president. So Putin has a lot that he wants, and he couldn't get it all today. What he could get today, though, is an agreement on New START, which would show again that Russia is the superpower, the strategic nuclear superpower that it is. He could get some agreements perhaps on starting economic talks or economic cooperation. And then he could get Trump to agree that, yes, let's keep thinking about Ukraine. Now, Trump wants that ceasefire. He wants it very badly. His White House has put out this statement that Trump has been nominated by 6 leaders of countries for a Nobel Peace Prize. He's already got the Azerbaijan-Armenia agreement under his belt. He's not doing too well on Gaza, but if he gets something on Ukraine, he's got a very strong case for something that I'm not sure the Norwegians really want to do. So he's got an incentive to have a ceasefire. The question is, A, what can he give up on his own? Because after all, it's Zelensky and his people that are doing the fighting, and Zelensky can say no. And B, how quickly can he do it? And we just don't know. Maybe in the press conference we'll hear something. But unless there's a major surprise, and remember, Putin has not given an inch on any issue up to now. So do you expect Putin to give something? I'm not so sure. And in that case, it would have to be Trump giving everything away. And I don't think Mr. Trump's ready to do that.
But then no deal is made without compromises. That is what one would expect from all sides here at this point. Just a quick... I just want to bring everyone up to date with the latest developments. Just came in a few minutes ago. There's some statements that came in. First reactions from the Russian delegation as the Putin-Trump talks end. Defense Minister of Russia, Belousov, said he was in a great mood, and Finance Minister Silunov, we'll know everything later. So not much coming out as expected from the Russian side, but the spirits seem to be high. And another one from Dmitriev saying that talks between Putin and Trump went remarkably well. Now, these kind of adjectives you seldom hear from the Russian side. Anything you make from these little statements and updates coming in as first reactions from the Russian side?
Well, it tells me that the Russians certainly didn't give anything up. How much they got, we don't know, but they didn't give anything up. If they gave anything up, they wouldn't be as buoyant as they seem to be. And so on that score, I think what Trump and Putin might want to do is come out with a win-win. I don't know that a ceasefire agreement right now will be a win for Trump because he doesn't know that he can get Zelensky to agree. But there could be a win-win, as I said, on New Start. There could be a win-win on an agreement to keep talking. There could be a win-win on an agreement to start thinking about economic cooperation. There are vehicles for both of them to feel good about the meeting. I think they both want to. I think the Russians clearly want to. They would like to have a relationship with the United States. Mr. Trump is probably the friendliest president they've had, oh, I don't know, since Franklin Roosevelt, perhaps, a long time. And so it may well be that they want to encourage that. And on Trump's side, as I say, there are a number of things that he wants to do to improve that relationship. And let's face it, look at Mr. Rubio sitting down right next to Mr. Lavrov, chatting away with him. I see Ushakov is smiling. All of that tells me that the Russians are pretty happy with whatever's about to be said.